going. Okay, so let's talk about h and I real quick. So h, 5 subtracted from the height. And we don't know what the height is. So you use some kind of variable like an x or an h. I'd probably use an h because it's descriptive of height. And you're going to do 5 subtracted from it. So that means the 5 is going to come at the end. Okay, give me a status for that one. How did you do on that one? Good, got it right. Some happy faces. They like to do those flip-flop words. So less than was a flip-flop word. I wrote an example, 10 less than the weight. You subtracted the 10 off of the weight. Here, 5 subtracted from, you had to take it off the end. So they'll probably put some kind of flip-flop word one in there, right? Okay, now let's talk about I. I'm glad you asked that, Lauren. Lauren asked, is this okay? 5 minus 8. Wait, is that what she said? Let me see. No. Yes. Okay. She asked, is this okay? 5 minus 8. That would be counted wrong. And Corey made the same mistake. So this is saying the difference of 5 and the height. Or, yeah, they probably use the word difference. So that would be like G up here. The difference of 5 in the area. So I would do 5 and the area and find the difference. But since it says subtracted from, I have to subtract 5 from the height. It's one of those flip-flop words because order matters in subtraction. So let's just say here that your height, I'm going to make this up. Let's say the height is 60 inches. If I want to do 5 subtracted from 60 inches, I'd have to do the 60 inches first, then subtract the 5. Remember, this was your height, 60 inches, then subtract the 5. If I did it the other way, if I put the 5 first and then subtracted the 60, it would give me negative 55. So changing the order in subtraction changes the sign of the number. If it was addition, it wouldn't matter. But since it's subtraction, you have to be really careful about the wording. So the flip-flop words in subtraction, just heads up, are if you see less than, so if it had said 5 less than the height, that's a flip-flop word. 5 less than, you have to start with a height and then take 5 off of it. Or in this case, they said 5 subtracted from. Subtracted from what? From the height, right? So you had to start with a height and subtract 5 from it. So any follow-up questions, H, or about knowing when to flip-flop the subtraction? Okay. Lauren, did that make sense why we had to put the H first and then subtract 5 from the H? Or Corey, because you had the same. Okay, it did? Okay, cool. So now let's talk about I, because I also got people on the take-home quiz, or the practice test, the Blackboard quiz, a lot of people missed I. So we see the keyword product here. So product is the result of multiplying two numbers. So when you see the word product, it means to multiply. But what threw people off is they saw the word and. And in our brains, it's like, and means add, but that's not true. This is and in like the English language sense. So the product of what? So if it says the product, you should ask yourself, the product of what? What are we multiplying? We're multiplying 6 and a number, but we're going to use multiplication between them because it's a product. So what did I take the product of? I took the product of 6 and some number. Or you could have done 6 times some number x. Or you could have written, 6 times a variable side by side with no symbol. And order doesn't matter. You could have put the number first and you could have put the 6. Order doesn't matter in multiplication, but I would have to see multiplication in there. The and is just describing what two things got multiplied. So how do you feel about that one, that idea of product meaning to multiply? Cool. Awesome. Are there any follow-up questions? Because I know about half the class missed that on the practice test. Quiz, I think it was quiz one. There was also another one on quiz one that had the word sum, but most people got that one right. Sum meant addition, right? So if it had said over here, if it had said the sum of 6 and a number, then we're not as confused, right? Because we would be 6 and a number, and you would have the word sum and the word and like it made more sense. It was that word product that threw us off. Okay, now you want to do all of these, and the answers are in the answer key. I'm not going to spend class time doing them all. I just wanted to talk about those that I knew tripped people up on the exam. So, okay, ready to move on? Cool, let's move on here. So the next one I want you to do is a perimeter one. So it was on a take-home quiz. About half the class got it 100% right. Then the other half, about half of that, so a fourth of the class got most of it right. So I just wanted to give you a chance to try this, and then we'll talk about the answer. So I'm going to be quiet for a minute, and then I'm going to send a poll up in a minute with the final answer for the perimeter. But just note, this question is asking you to do two things. It's asking you to find the unknown sides. So that's one thing. Then it's asking you to find the perimeter. So make sure you do both of those things. And I'll be quiet for a sec. Okay, when you think you have the answer, go ahead and type it anywhere on the screen, just so I'll know when people are finishing up. Oh, and I guess I should clarify. Just type the final answer for the perimeter. Just type the perimeter on the screen because cool. Cool, looking good. Awesome. Okay. So this is looking great. I know not everyone answered, so I am going to go through the solution. But from what I'm seeing, y'all are doing great on this. There's a couple of things I'm just going to point out just from the answers I'm seeing. And this is the same thing that happened on the quiz. Whenever you're doing an application problem or a word problem, you have to include units. So for example, the person that said 30 feet gets full credit for the unknown side. And 110 feet for the perimeter gets full credit. But the person who said 30 and 110 misses like 2 points because the units weren't there. You have to include units. So this has missing units. And I have to take points off for that. So make sure you put the units on there. For those of y'all who might not have typed on the screen or might have questions on it, I'm just going to quickly go through it. So what I do on these problems is, well, first I'm going to find my missing sides real quick. So let's go ahead and do that. So the easy missing side to find is this bottom one, because this bottom side is made up of this length from here to here, which is 24, plus this little piece, which is equivalent to 6. So to find that missing side, I would add 24 feet plus 6 feet for a total of 30 feet. Okay. And then we have to find our other missing sides. So this is the missing side that's harder to find. I know that from top all the way to bottom is 35 feet. And I know that 15 of those feet are right here. This is 15 feet right there. So to find this missing side, you have to take top all the way to bottom, which was 35, minus the 15 that we've already used up. And when I subtract those, the leftover is that top piece there. So that was your 20. So this is going to be 20 feet. So make sure you're putting those units. And if it says find the unknown sides plural, you need to make sure that you list both the sides. And I think on your quiz, they had actually labeled them like side A and side B. So it helped you see that there were 2 missing sides, but make sure you do that. And then to find your perimeter, you add up all the sides. Okay. And so our perimeter here, count the sides. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So make sure you add up 6 numbers. And when you add them all up, you should get 110, and make sure you put the unit on there that your perimeter is 110 feet. And this is an example of a problem you're doing on your scratch paper that you'll submit at the very end of the test. Because just like on your practice test, they're just going to have a box to have you type in your final answer or something like that. And if you, let's say you forgot to add a side. Let's say you forgot to add this 20 feet. And if you forgot to add that 20 feet, your answer came out to be 90. So you type 90 in. Blackboard's just going to count that wrong. But I can look on your scratch work and be like, oh, they knew what they were doing. They just forgot one side. So maybe I'll give you half the points. Or, I can give you partial credit if you submit your work. So on your paper, you would show that you added 6 plus 35. Oops. Sorry. My stylus isn't picking up very well. 6 plus 35 plus 30 plus 15 plus 24. And if you did that and I saw, oh, you just forgot one of the sides, I could give you partial credit. Of course, we have to add the 20 and all that to get the 1, 2. Okay, any questions or comments on this one? Give me a status. How do you feel about this perimeter problem? Feeling good? Yeah, it was in our notes. It was in the My Math Lab homework. It was on the practice test. It's on the review. I'm like, I don't know. I'm detecting a trend. So cool. Don't forget to put your units. If you forgot your units on this one, write huge on your paper right now. Write the word units huge on your paper. Units. And then do underline. Oh, good. I'm glad someone got that answer. So Yonsei, she said she got 130. So Yonsei, oh, wait, did I add wrong? I don't know. I didn't even add it because everyone got 110. Oh, let me add it. I don't know. I'm being. Did anyone else get 130? I didn't add it because there's so many 110s on there. I just assumed it was 110. That's my bad. Let's add it up. Let's see what we get. Okay, I'm actually going to put this in my calculator now. So 35 plus, this side was 30, right? So I'm going to add 30 on my calculator plus 15 plus 24 plus, did we say that side was 20? I think it was, yes, 20. Okay, 20 feet. Plus 20 plus this little one up there, 6. Okay, let me add all that on my calculator just to be sure. So 35 plus 30 plus 15 plus 24 plus 20 plus 6. Oh, it is 130. Look at me not. So for those of y'all that got 110, oh, if you got 110, you probably forgot to add this side, the 20. Is that what happened? Yeah. But see, if you had turned in your scratch work, I could have given you some partial credit. Look at me just following the, wow. Yeah, a lot of people, see, you aren't alone. You aren't alone. And that's what was happening on the practice test. But then I couldn't give anyone partial credit because you didn't submit that handwritten work. So, yeah. Well, first of all, Yonsei, high five to you for being brave and saying you got a different answer. And shame on me for not actually putting that in my calculator. So awesome. Oh, Lauren is asking, how did you get the 30? Okay, so the way I got the 30, Lauren, is this. I said this side from corner to corner goes from the left side all the way to the right side. And then I looked above it, I kind of broke it into two parts. So I know that from this corner to right here, it's 24 feet. Because when I looked above it, the parallel side up there was 24 feet long. And then again, this next little piece from here to here, when I looked above it, that parallel side was 6 feet. So when I added those two pieces together, it made the whole side length 30 feet long. So that's how I got that 30 feet there. How do you feel about that, Lauren? Feeling good? Okay. Seriously, high five, Yonsei, for telling us that the answer was 130. Okay, cool. Well, that was fun. You know what? Here's a good thing about being a human being, y'all. We are wired, hardwired. Our biology is hardwired to learn from mistakes. So the fact that we made that mistake all together, and except for Yonsei, and the fact that we called our brains out on it, will help you not make that mistake on your test. So I'm glad that happened. If not, if we had just sailed through that, you would have made that mistake on your test, and we don't want that. Now you'll never forget that. Add all 6 sides. And normally that's what I do, y'all. I seriously, before I do the perimeter on every weird shape like this, is I go through and count how many sides. There's 1 side, 2 sides, 3 sides, 4 sides, 5 sides, 6 sides. I tell myself 6 sides, so I better add 6 numbers in my calculator. And if I'm not adding 6 numbers, I messed up. So make sure on your calculator, on your paper, you have 6 numbers written down, and that'll help you slow your brain down a little bit. Yay for mistakes. Happy mistakes, right? Learning opportunities. We're not going to call them mistakes. Okay, cool. What do I have on here next? I don't even know. Let's see what's next. Oh, the yucky graphs. I actually made a video solution for a couple of the problems on the review because we had questions similar on practice tests that were missed. So I'm going to be quiet for a second. I'm going to give you a chance to read through this graph. It's talking about the number of videos sold and profit made off of those videos. And you're reading this graph. I'm going to be quiet and see how you do on this. So answer A, B, and C. Okay, are you ready to see how you did on these? Let's just, anywhere on the screen, type your answer to A only. Anywhere on the screen, type your answer to A only. Estimate the profit if 400 videos are sold. Just curious what you would have put if this was the test day. Oh, there's an overlapping one. I'll move it. Okay. Any other people want to put their answers down? And be honest, remember this is completely anonymous. So if you want me to tell you if your answer would have been right or wrong, you can write it down. If you want me to give you feedback on why an answer was incorrect, I can do that. No one knows who's typing what on the screen. Okay, so let's talk about these answers I see here on the screen for part A. So the good thing is I didn't see anyone just put a 5 or something like that down. I saw that a lot on the quiz. So let's talk about this. So we're being asked to estimate the profit for 400 videos. So my horizontal axis is the number of videos sold. So I just have to locate 400 on there, which is right here. And then I go up to my graph. And then I come back over here to read the profit. So it's between 4 and 6. So I would have accepted, I see some people put 4,500. I would have accepted that. I would have accepted 5,000. I'd accept, somewhere about halfway between 4 and 6. So those are correct answers. To get full credit, you have to have units. Okay. So I would have accepted $5,000. I could not have given full credit for just 5,000 because what's missing on that one? Yeah, the units, right? The dollar sign is missing on that one. So maybe that would have been like half a point off or something, but I'd have to take points off. I also could not have accepted 5. Okay. Oh yeah, Rachel wrote, don't forget your units. Yeah, I could not have accepted 5 because I have to read the extra information that it's profit in thousands of dollars. So you could have written the word 5,000. Oops, except thou. Okay, pretend that says $1,000. You could have written it that way. You could have written the 5,000 out with your dollar sign. You could have written it this way with the word dollars. Just make sure that you're showing those units. Okay, so now let's do B and C together real quick. So on B, so if you would have gotten this one right, it said estimate the profit again for 50 videos. So 50 is over here between 0 and 100. Ooh, I didn't mark it halfway. That bothers me. Okay, and I'm going to come down here to my graph, and it's going to be between -2 and -4. So yeah, it looks like it's a little bit -2. If you put -2,000, I'd have to take a little bit off because -2, well, I don't know. That kind of, I guess -2 might look more like a little closer to 100, like 75 maybe. I probably would have given you credit for that. Yeah, so yeah, to get full credit, you would have to have somewhere between -2 and -4, and then make sure, yes, it's negative, it's in thousands of dollars. Answers I'm seeing here are great. The best answer would have been -$3,000, or you have to be careful since you're entering these in my math lab, I'm sorry, in Blackboard, they might have said something like this. They might ask you, is that a profit or a loss? They might have asked something like this. And it says here, a negative profit represents a loss. So instead of this negative sign, I don't know because I haven't seen your test yet, they might have, instead of putting the negative sign, they might have put the word loss there. But you'll know that. And if you type it in wrong, I can override it. Like I go back and look at all the answers you've entered and I can override that. Either way is 100% correct, Corey. I go back in, even if Blackboard grades it automatically, I go check every single thing that was typed in. And if it counted it wrong, but it's right, I can overwrite that grade. Oh, and this is totally unrelated, but I think, Corey, it was you that you got like a 96 on your quiz 6 and it generated a gazillion homework problems. I think that was Corey. Yeah, I think it was Corey. But anyway, I just want you to know in the next 12 weeks, my math lab is set up very differently. You're not going to have like the quiz at the beginning that generates a homework. It's just everyone gets the same homework. We're not going to have that like 2-part system in my math lab. So I appreciate your patience. That was you, Corey. Yeah, I appreciate your patience, like trying out this new system. It was designed, it didn't quite go the way it was designed. So I appreciate your patience with that. But extra practice never hurts, right? That's what we're going to go with. Okay, and let's check your answer for C really quickly. Now C is going the opposite direction. C says estimate the number of videos that must be sold to make $2,000. So now I'm going to look at my profit, go to 2,000. So remember this 2 really represents $2,000. Then I'll backtrack to my graph, and that looks like, I don't know, 250 maybe? 250 videos? I mean, you can put a lot. You could put 240, you could put 260, I don't know. It's anywhere between 200 which is this tick mark, and 300, which is that tick mark. So as long as you were between there somewhere. Oh, wait, I would get points off. What did I forget on my answer, y'all? Oh, this person got it right. Videos, I forgot my unit. Ugh, Kelly. Thank God y'all take the test. Units. I'm writing myself a note so I won't forget. Units. Include units or else. Underline, underline, underline. Okay. Any follow-up questions on how to read the axes on the graph or locate information on the graph? If this was test day, how would you be feeling right now? Show me a status. If this was the test, if we were 4 questions into the test, what would your face look like? Minus that perimeter one, right? Okay, good. Okay. Corey's like, yeah. Yeah, the thing is with the test, you don't know if you're right or wrong until you submit, right? So you have that like uncertainty that, am I right? I don't know. Okay, so let's keep going on. Ooh, okay, the next one here is an order of operations. Now, just heads up before I let you loose on this one, I know that you can just type this in your calculator all at once if it's scientific. Scientific calculators are programmed to do my order of operations. So if I just typed all that in and I hit equals, it would give me my answer. But if you do that on the test, because these are those written ones you have to scan, you won't get any points. You have to show all the PEMDAS steps. You can use your calculator to do the calculations, but you have to write down the steps. So go ahead and practice doing that. I'll be quiet and then we'll check your answer. Ooh. Ooh, I don't know. I haven't done it yet. Let me do it. Did anyone else get 50? Oh, Rachel did. Shanique got 50. Guessing 50 is the right answer. Let's see. Just heads up, if you type that on your calculator and you just wrote equals 50, minus 1,000,000 points. Well, not really, but you won't get any credit because you didn't show all of your steps. So this is what I will have to see. I have to see follow PEMDAS to get all your credit. So let's see the steps you would have to show. So I like to write my PEMDAS down to this, like on the side as my checklist. There weren't any parentheses. There were not any exponents. But then I need to multiply or divide before I add or subtract. So there was multiplication involved here. So I need to rewrite 97. I have to rewrite the subtraction. I have to rewrite the addition because those come at the end. And then I have to put the 13. Ooh, Corey got 2 different answers. Let's see what's going on. Someone else got 24 too. Let's see. Ooh, Jessica got it. Okay, let's see. I haven't done it. Okay, right now, according to PEMDAS, I have to multiply or divide before I add or subtract. So let's do it. So the only thing getting multiplied is the 12 times 5. This symbol is subtraction. That comes later. Okay, so on my calculator, 12 times 5 is 60. So I'm going to type in 60, or write in 60 there. Okay. Now, here's probably what got you if you, if you got the answer wrong. This is why I have a love-hate relationship with PEMDAS. When you see AS, it makes you feel like you have to add before you subtract, but that is not true. You do whichever happens to come first from left to right. So when I read this, subtraction happened to come first as I go from left to right. So since it came first, you have to do the subtraction first. So I have to do 97 minus 60 first, which is 37. Then I'll do the adding last. I know PEMDAS can be super misleading. Any kind of shortcut or little trick like that can be misused. So you have to be really careful. And that gave me, yeah, Corey said, oh, I took PEMDAS a little too seriously. Yeah, so maybe as soon as you write PEMDAS on your paper, um, circle your multiply and divide and write out, left to right or something like that. And the circle add and subtract and write out left to right because they're going to put something tricky like that on there if they're going to do a PEMDAS. So yeah, it can be, and same thing would happen here if it had been multiplying or dividing. So let me just make one up real quick. Oh, this always goes horribly wrong when I just randomly make something up. But let's say I had 30 divided by 6 times 2. Let's make it even more fun. Let's do, give me 1 second. Let's do 42 minus, okay, I'm going to try this one that I just made up. I'm going to be quiet for a second. I have no idea if that's right, Rachel, but if it is, I'm going to crack up because I just randomly made this up. Holy smokes. You might be right. Yeah, I couldn't do that again if I tried, y'all. I think the answer is 42. Oh my gosh. How cool am I? Okay, well, I don't know. Let's just do PEMDAS together. So I'm going to write down PEMDAS, and I'm going to circle. Oh, Rachel said she did it twice. I'm going to circle the multiply and divide and put left to right to remind myself. And I'm going to circle the add or subtract and go left to right to remind myself. Because y'all, I couldn't do this again if I tried. See how there's no parentheses, there's no exponents, but the division happens to come before the multiplication. So I would have 42, subtraction comes at the end. I'm going to divide, then multiply. Addition comes later. Okay, so when I did 30 divided by 6, that's 5. Okay, then I have to multiply. So now we're going to multiply that. So I'm going to rewrite the 42. I'm going to rewrite the subtraction. I'm going to rewrite the addition. None of that happens till the end. 5 times 2 is 10. And look at that. Like, seriously, we're subtracting 10 and adding 10. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so it's 42. Because if I do, now the subtraction happens to come first. So I'm going to subtract 10 to get 32. But then I just add the 10 back on. Okay, well, this is why I don't make up problems on the fly. 42. Hey, that would be a fun extra credit. Make you question everything you ever knew. Cool, cool, cool. How are we feeling about PEMDAS? Give me a status. How are you feeling about order of operations now? Feeling good? Better? Okay, so make yourself a big note on your paper. Write down the PEMDAS and circle the MD and put left to right and circle the AS and put left to right and just practice doing that on test day. Practice it while you're reviewing. Practice it on test day. I call it dialoguing. Like when you write those things down, you're giving yourselves little hints, like you're burying it in your brain. And if those hints become second nature, it's just like a checklist of things for you to like go through while you're working these problems. So, okay, cool. Let's see what else I got on here. What else did I pick off the review? Oh, another order of operations, but this one is using fractions. I want to make sure everyone's comfortable using the fraction button on their calculator. And this one, just heads up, I want to point this out because I saw some people do this on quiz 5. If you do on your calculator 3 divided by 5, so if I wanted to change that to a decimal, it's a pretty decimal. It's 0.6. So you could totally do that on the test if you wanted to. Minus, and you could do the same thing for 2 divided by 5. 2 divided by 5. That's 0.4. Divided by 3/4, oops, is 0.75. You could do that. And because some people find it easier to put decimals in their calculator than fractions. But here's the deal. What if they had given you a fraction that looks like this? What if instead of 3/5, they gave you something like 3/7? So everything was the same except for the 3/7. If you do that, if you try to change 3/7, if you do top divided by bottom or use your fraction to decimal key or however it is you change fractions to decimals, it gives you this horrible number, 0.4285714 other stuff. So you're not allowed to change it to a decimal if it's an ugly decimal like that. Like if you have to round, or if it doesn't, like it's just this long big decimal, you're not allowed to do that. You have to use the fraction button. But if they come out pretty, I'll count your answer right either way. It is important to know how to use your fraction button on the calculator, so I suggest you just practice with fractions because it's going to come up again later in the next course. But go ahead and try this. I'm going to be quiet. I just wanted to give that word of warning, and we'll see what you get. I have no idea, Corey. We'll see. As you get your answer, throw it into the chat if you want, or you can type it on the screen if you want to be anonymous, because I have no idea. I haven't done it yet. PIMDOS, I have to do inside parentheses first, or inside any grouping symbol. Technically, I have parentheses right here, but there's nothing to do inside of it unless I wanted to change that to a decimal. After that, there's like really nothing to do inside those parentheses, so that's kind of done. But there definitely is an exponent. So if I use my decimal form, I would get 0.36. If I use my fraction button when I do the exponent, I would write 9 out of 25. So make sure when you're using your fraction button, you're writing your answer as a fraction. This one would be okay for decimal. And then let's see. So once we do the exponents, we're going to divide these first. So let's see what we get when we put that in our calculator. So when I put that in my calculator, that's going to give me 8/15. I think, yeah, 8/15. And then, ooh, wait, is that right? 8/15? 2/5. I was trying to do it in my head. I don't have my nice fraction calculator here. Let me try that quick. So 2/5 divided by 3/4. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's right. 8/15. Okay, cool. And then I would type this in my calculator to subtract them. So let's see what we get. So 9/25 using my fraction button minus 8/15 using my fraction button. Yeah, cool. So these are the answers. You would get negative 13/75, or You could write this decimal because there's a pattern to it. So you could write negative 0.173. And since that 3 is repeating, you can put a bar over it. And that just shows that that pattern goes on forever and ever. So you're technically not rounding that because there's a repeating pattern. So you did not round. You just continued the pattern. Excellent. Cool. Any questions about this one or follow-up questions? Maybe you did a step wrong and you want to ask why. Okay, just write yourself a little note. Make sure you show steps. You have to show steps to get credit. If you just put the final answer, I can't give you credit. You could type all that in your calculator at once if you wanted to, just to check yourself, but make sure you're showing the PEMDAS steps. We have to test if you know PEMDAS. Okay. I have a couple more here on slides. See how we're doing on here. What's the next one? Oh, a word problem. Yeah, this was on quiz 4, I believe. It was quiz 4. But I had some homework questions about some of these. So let's read it together and then I'll be quiet and let you try it. Okay, it says Jane's bill last month was $42 less than it was this month. Which of Jane's bills was more expensive? And if her current bill was $172, how much was last month? So let's pretend it's test day. I'm going to be quiet. Let's see how you do on this one. Okay, y'all, let's see how you would have done if this was the day of the test. Okay, got it. Yeah, so step A is just to slow your brain down to help you make sure if your answer to B even makes sense. Okay, so yeah, you're right. The current bill is more expensive because it says Jane's bill last month. So here's last month. I'm going to write down my thinking here in case you got this one wrong. Oops. So last month compared to this month, right? That's what I'm comparing. It says Jane's bill last month was less than this month. So last month is less. That means this month is more. Okay, so once you get that down, it'll help you see if your answer to B makes sense. So if her current bill, that's this month, right? If her current bill this month is 172, her current bill this month, then your answer to B better be less than 172. Yeah, so this one would not be right because that's more than 172. We want it to be less than 172. And so we know how much less? Yeah, right there, perfect. 172 minus 42, that's going to give you that 130 there. So the answer to A will help you check your answer to B, basically. And if your answer to B is not checking out, you'd be like, oh, I should have subtracted, not added, or, it can get flip-floppy in your brain. And I wasn't here the day that y'all did this. This is when Nancy Bellos substituted for me. So I just wanted to make sure, are there any questions on this type of problem? You feeling good on it? Feeling good? Okay. I have 2 more in my slide, and then after that, I'll just take any requests that y'all have. So let's see. Oh, this one, man, y'all, this one probably half the class got it right, and the other half made a really common mistake. So I'm going to be quiet and let you try number 29. And when you feel ready, you can just type your answer anywhere on the screen. Okay. So I think what threw people off back, I think this was quiz 2 or quiz 3, but I think what threw people off is there's some extra information going on here. So they give us this information about the population P. Okay, that's good. I know P is standing for population. Okay, that's good. But then they give us this extra information about it growing 24% a year. So just heads up, in the 12-week course that you take after this, there are 3 units. The first unit is like a problem solving logic kind of unit. The second unit is statistics. And the third unit is exponential growth and decay. And this is actually an exponential growth problem that you're going to see in the next course. Like you'll have to get this formula on your own. So deep breaths, but here it's just given to you. And this 24% growth each year is just extra information. You'll see how to use that 24% growth to get this 1.24 later. Like that's coming later. So this is extra information right now. You just need to know what does the P represent, and they tell you that's population. And you need to know what does the N represent. And they're telling us N is the number of years. So that's all you need to know for right now. So then they ask you to find the population after 3 years. So you need to show me, to get full credit, you need to show me that you plugged the 3 into the correct location. So we're trying to find P, and all I'm going to do is rewrite this formula, but I'm going to replace the N with the number 3. Cool. And then then you can just type this in your calculator. You don't have to do PEMDAS and all of that for this one. But make sure, I'm getting some more answers here. Make sure that when you type this in your calculator, you're using the exponent button. So when I type this in my calculator, I would do 10,000 and then the multiply button, and then 1.24, then the exponent button, then a 3. On the quiz, a lot of people multiplied 1.24 times the 3 instead of using the exponent button. And your exponent button might look different. Some of y'all have an exponent button that's like an X with a Y, or Casio has like some fancy ones that have like a box with a box, or I don't know, whatever your exponent button looks like, make sure you use that. And when I type that in my calculator, what do I get? I get this decimal number, 19066.24, but then we're being asked to round that to the nearest whole number. Whole number is the ones place. The ones place. So, someone here. So the 20,000s, y'all rounded that to the nearest 10,000. You rounded that to the nearest 10,000. So it would have been counted wrong on Blackboard. The nearest whole number is this ones place right there. That 6 in the ones place. So when I look behind it, there's a 2, so I don't bump it up. So the correct answer is, this 9, here it is, the 19066. So that one would have been right. That one would have been right. Yeah, so this 1900, that would have been rounded to the nearest. Oh, that was just like an estimate probably. So that one wouldn't have been right. No. Okay. So now that you see the right answer, if you got this wrong, be brave and ask a question if you don't understand the solution that I just provided. Because I promise if you have a question, other people do too. And even if they don't, it's your final exam, right? It's your grade. So if you don't fully own and understand why the answer is 19,066, please ask. You do not use the 24%, Lauren. That in this class, that's just extra information that throws you off. So whenever you're given a formula, so on this one, when you're given a formula, you just have to ask yourselves, what do the variables represent? So what did P represent? That was population. And they tell you that you have to search for that in the problem. And then what did N represent? N was number of years. And you had to search for that. Everything else is extra information there. When Rachel said she got 13,000 because she pressed in the wrong exponent. No worries. But Rachel, I'm so glad you said that, because this might be a problem that's on the written work that you scan and upload. But if it's not, if it's one where you just type your answer into Blackboard, then if you had written, like if I had seen on your Scratch work that you had written everything correctly. So let's say I saw on your Scratch work this, and then I saw P equals 3,000 or 13,000 or whatever it was you got, I would have been like, I could maybe take 1 point off out of 5 or whatever it is. I could give you lots of partial credit. Whereas if you don't give your Scratch work, Blackboard would just count the whole thing wrong, and I won't have any way to give you points. So make sure as you're taking the test, keep beautiful Scratch work for anything that's not one of those official, like, submit your written work problems. And that way you can post it at the end and I can give you partial credit. Any questions or follow-up questions about this problem? Okay, y'all, I only have one more problem on my slide. Oh, good question, Rihanna. I personally scan my work using my cell phone because I don't have a scanner, and I really like the Genius Scan app. So I scan my work through the Genius Scan app. It's free, it's pretty easy to use. And if I have multiple pages, like let's say I have 3 pages of Scratch work, I can scan them all as one document. So I'm just uploading one thing and it saves a lot of time. Rachel says she likes this one. Yeah, Genius Scan. But what I have to do, I don't know, there might be a better way. So Rachel, you can correct me. I take pictures with my phone using my Genius Scan app. It saves it as a PDF file. And then what I do is when I'm in the scanning app, I email myself the file. So I email file to myself. And then I open it on my computer and then save it on my computer. So when when you go on Blackboard, it asks you to browse your computer. So it says, like, you click that button that says browse my files or browse my computer. Browse my computer. Then if I email the file to myself, I save it on my computer. So when I click browse my computer, it's there for me to upload. But if you've been submitting written work on your practice quizzes and I've been grading it, whatever you're doing is working just fine. So, for all those practice quizzes, if you've been opening up that problem that has like 4 questions to write out and scan and upload, if you've been getting graded work on that and you haven't been getting my message that I can't see your scan, whatever you're doing is fine. And Rachel says, so that's how you do it, Rachel. She says, yeah, you can make a folder just for this class and it automatically, just save it in that folder. And just heads up, y'all, I will be in every single breakout room and I will be in the main room. So if you're having technical issues at all during the test, I'm there. So you can type in the chat, or you can, I wouldn't unmute yourself because you might disturb other people testing, but you can type in the chat and just say, I need help. And I can move you to the main room and we can talk. Cool. Any other questions or comments about this question or anything in particular before we do our last one together? Okay. Let's look at the last one I have on here. What did I pick out here? Oh, yeah. I picked out an equation that had a fraction. There were a couple on the review and I made some videos for them. So there's video links. Did I put the video links in the answer key? That would have been cool. I don't know. Let me check if I did that real quick. I'm pulling up the answer key on Blackboard. I'm going to see if I linked them in there. Final exam review. Answer key. I'm just pulling it up real quick. Did I link the videos into the answer key? Isn't this horrible that I do not remember? I think I might have done like permanent damage to my brain, y'all. Like I can't remember if I linked the files in it. It does not look like I linked. Aw, that would have been too cool if I'd done that. Okay. Future reference. I did post them on a Blackboard announcement. I made an announcement that I'd made some video solutions. So some of these have video solutions. But anyway, okay, I'll be quiet now. I want you to try this question. There's 2 parts to it. So I'm going to be quiet for a while. Try A and B, and then we'll check it together. Okay, so let's check these answers here. Just heads up, if you answered 18.5 for A, oh, you don't get full credit. Does anyone know why you would get points off if you answer 18.5? Units. That's right. That's right. I know. And you'll like moan and groan about it. But it's you have to include units on any type of word problem like final answer. So what are the units for what we're calculating here? So I'm just going to write down what I do when I see an equation is I just label the stuff. So X is a year. So X is a year. And what was capital R? Capital R is the revenue in millions of dollars. So R is revenue in millions. Oh, almost right, Corey. So yes, you have to have the word million after it. But what else do you need? Millions of dollars. Yeah, so there was all kinds of stuff going on with this answer. Would you get most of the credit if you put 18.5? Yes. Would you get full credit? No. And, we want every point we can get, right? And just heads up, when you're taking the test, you do not need to get 100 on this test to pass. So don't let 1 or 2 questions give you bad juju and like send you in a spiral. I don't know about y'all, but that's happened to me on a test. Like I don't know something and then I spiral out of control and then I've used up all my energy for the stuff I do know. So if you don't know something, who cares? Skip it. Come back to it later. Like don't waste your good energy on something you don't know. But on this one, we want every point we can get. So to get full credit for A, you'd have to say 18.5 million. And again, I got that answer just by plugging 2006 into my equation. So to get credit, I'd have to see that you plugged 2006 in for the year. So I would need to see this, and then you can just type all that in on your calculator if you want. And your calculator is going to give you 18.5, but you need to enter the $ and the word million. Okay. And you do not need to do PEMDAS. You don't need to show order of operations to get full credit, but I do need to see that you plugged in your X value, that you plugged in your year, and I do need to see units. Okay, and then someone got 2,000 for B. I don't know if that's right. I'm going to check it real quick before I solve. Is 2,000 right? I can check that. Remember, any solution you can check. If I put the year 2000 in, oh, and first of all, it tells me that it needs to be between 2000 and 2010. So that answer checks out. So that part's good. I'm going to just plug that in on my calculator real quick and see what number pops out. Let me see. So 9/4 times 2,000. Oh, yes, you can totally take a break, Lauren. And we're almost done, actually. So after this, I don't have anything else planned. So you can just log off. Yeah, that's 5. And I'll just hang out in the room if anyone else has questions. We'll be officially done after this problem. Yeah, so whoever got 2,000 was right. Does anyone need to see the equation solved for? Emma? Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and solve that one real quick. So I have R equals 9/4 X minus 4,495. So to solve, we locate our variable. Here it is. You ask yourself what happened to it. So what happened to x. According to PEMDAS, the first thing that happens is it gets multiplied. So we multiply by 9/4. And then once you do that, you have to subtract. So the second thing that happens is that we subtracted 4495. So that's according to PEMDAS. Solving reverses all of that. You need to undo it all backwards, right? In the opposite, like you're undoing PEMDAS. So to undo subtraction, I need to add 4495. So I'm going to start by adding 4495 to undo the subtraction. So I'm going to add, oh, what did I forget to do? It told me my revenue was 5 million. So I'm just going to insert a 5 there. I'm not going to write that out as 5 million. But I need to add 4495. So what does that give me? That'd be 4500. And I have 9/4 x. Okay, so I undid the subtracting. Now working backwards, I have to undo the multiplying. And you undo multiplying by dividing by the fraction. And just heads up, this fraction is a pretty decimal number. So if it makes you more comfortable and you want to change that to 2.25, you can. If not, just use your fraction button in your calculator. But I'm going to divide this side by 9/4. So I need to divide this side by 9/4. Or you could just divide by 2.25. Either way, dividing undoes multiplying and leaves me with my x, which is my year. And then I type this into my calculator, and hopefully I haven't done it yet. So 4500 divided by, yeah, I got year 2000 over there. So just always think what happened to your x and you follow order of operations to list it, but to solve, you do the opposite in the opposite order. You're undoing PEMDAS when you're solving. Emma, did that help? Did I answer your questions? Do you have any follow-up questions? Oh, okay. And if you had submitted your scratch work, you would have gotten most of the credit. But what makes these tricky with the formulas, since it tells you that your revenue is in millions of dollars, if you had actually entered 5 million, that would be 5 million that you entered. Like it automatically. Oh, I see. Well, the year you plug in, do you mean when you say the first one, were you talking about part A? Or do you mean the, yeah, I know. And like I said, if as long as you're submitting your scratch work, I would give you 9 out of 10 points. I'd give you a lot of points for that. Yeah, it just here it's saying X is the year. So when you see an X, you replace it with the year exactly. Here it's telling me the R is in millions. So it's automatically typed like attaching a million, like millions to it. So if I enter a 5, it's assuming 5 million. But if I typed out 5 million, it'd be 5 million million. So it won't calculate. But just make sure you're keeping really good scratch work, scan it and submit it at the end of the test. That way I can give you partial credit. Cool. Any other questions about this problem, y'all? Okay, this will never happen again in the history of this class, but we're done 20 minutes early. So you're free to log off and use this 20 minutes to study. But I'll also stay in the classroom if anyone has any questions about anything or wants me to check their camera setup or whatever. I'll be here for 20 more minutes. So if not, good luck. I will see you Thursday for test day. You feel free to log off. Do your review. Oh, and I'll post answer keys to those written work on the practice quizzes, and I'll get all those quizzes graded today. So, oh, good. I'm glad you feel good, Corey. Thank you, Jessica. Our last actual class before the test. Yeah, go ahead, Emily. Oh, wait, hold on real quick. I'm going to raise my volume on my earphones because I turned it way down earlier. Okay, go ahead. Mhm. One of them has to be what? Yes, that is correct. So what you're, oh, go ahead. Yes, that's how it's going to work. So your phone, when you sign in on your phone, that's going to be the guest. So your phone is the guest. And you're going to set that like here you are working at your computer. Your phone is going to be like over to the side, panning your work area. And then your computer, you're going to sign in like normal. So computer, you go in through Blackboard like normal, just like you are right now. So, and then that you're going to use to read your screen and put answers on your screen. So when I look at the classroom, I'm going to see two things. I'm going to see Emily that you entered in the classroom normally through Blackboard, and then I'm going to see like Emily, you have to title your guest entrance. So say like Emily's phone or something like that. So I'll know that's you on your phone. Mhm. Yeah, definitely. I'll be in class, I'll try to get there like at least 15 minutes early, if not earlier. But also the first 25 minutes of class, they built in as like troubleshooting and getting people in breakout rooms. But yeah, I'll be here early. And if your setup looks good, I can put you in the breakout room. And your 2 hour time limit does not start until you open the test. So you'll have 2 hours from the time you open the test. Anything I do about getting you in a breakout room, even if it takes 15 minutes, it won't eat into your test time. Okay, you're welcome. Shanique, go ahead. Hmm. Yeah, sure. Yeah, since am behind on grading, it is your win. So yes, you can turn those in. Cool. Okay. Bye. Bye, Rihanna. Any other questions for me, y'all? No, you can feel free to leave. I'll hang out here if you have any questions. You can email me questions as you're studying. If you have a question, you can email me. If you have a question about your setup between now and Thursday, you can email me. I'm excited for you guys, if that's any consolation. You'll actually get a weekend off. That's very unusual because once you get your grade on Friday, your brain can rest until we start the new class on Tuesday. So that'll be nice. Oh, I need to turn this camera off.